Let's take it way, way, way back. Stones covered in hieroglyphics. Let's talk about ancient Egypt, pyramids and mausoleums.
All right, so that's it for that. And without further ado, let's get Stefan up here. Make some noise. Come on. How's it going, man?
Oh, good.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. Where'd you come up from today?
Victoria.
Victoria, how was that drive? You can grab it.
Perfect. There it is. Yeah, no, that's good. I came up from Victoria. Came up with my wife and son. And yeah, we just got a little Airbnb out here for the night, and just gonna do a little lake day tomorrow. So
Nice.
yeah, it was a nice little drive.
Yeah.
It's about an hour.
Family time.
And yeah, glad to be here. It's exciting. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. I guess start off the bat. How long have you been? Actually, let's start off with what are fundamental raps?
Yeah, so Fundamental Raps is it's a educational hip hop YouTube channel.
Okay.
So basically, I'm just I'm turning educational topics, school topics, predominantly junior high school topics into just basically hip hop songs.
Okay.
So, before I started this, and it was actually my wife and I. She does all the videoing and stuff. So, but we try to do it as independently as we can. I started out by looking on YouTube, like, who else is out here doing this?
Yeah.
And you'd see some songs here and there of people doing some educational rap on
Totally,
YouTube, but it
yeah.
was more like a spoofy kind of thing, or just something kind of funny. So, and or it sounded like they were recording in a tin can or something,
Right.
just like
Yeah.
that. So I just said, I'm just gonna do this and try to make it sound as good as I possibly can. Something that somebody would actually maybe bump in their car, kind
Totally.
of thing. So just trying to switch it up a bit and just hopefully help some kids and some people along the way.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So what started you in that direction of making raps that are that can teach you? That's really
Yeah.
cool. Did you come up? Well, how did you come up with that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It was just, I think I remember the actual night that it happened, because I came to a point where it was like, I wanted to make music. I've always had a love for hip hop, and I just said, it's time. I need to do this, and I love it. So, but to do that, I knew I had to learn all the stuff. The music, the production, the whole thing, right? So, I just once I committed to that, I said, all right, I'm about to do that, putting the work on that, but what am I gonna do? So
Right.
I had a 3-year-old at the time, and he used to love Blippi. So anybody who got young kids probably heard of Blippi. And he basically just is educational stuff for 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds. It's not music, or some of it's music, but it's not hip hop or anything.
Okay.
And I was just like, man, this guy's got billions of views. And I'm like, so there's obviously a niche for kids here. But I just so I was like, maybe I could write some kids rap or something like that. But I found that when I tried to do it, it was just I couldn't make it, dumb it down, so to speak, enough
Right.
to my style just wouldn't let me do that.
Yeah.
So I finally just started, when I could pick topics that were geared towards junior high school, I was able to just kind of flow the way I wanted to flow.
Right.
And just to where I could just kind of be myself, on the mic, and write kind of what I wanted to write. And it just started going. I have a background in anatomy, so I just started doing some anatomy songs. Did a human bone song. Just started doing a cell, the human cells. My kid wanted to do he wanted dinosaurs at the time, so I did a dinosaur song.
Yeah.
With this West Coast beat, and just kind of went from there, and just been attaching a music video to each one, and just trying to pump them out.
Yeah, that's cool. So, you cover a lot of different topics, right?
I do, yeah. I have a pretty broad. I have about 31, 32 videos out, and I've covered I covered a lot of topics: math, pretty much math, science, history.
Yeah.
Got some comedy stuff in there, but I think as of lately, I'm starting to direct my stuff more towards history.
Okay.
Just because I find that it reaches a bigger demographic, because everybody's kind of interested in history.
Yeah.
more so than maybe fractions or something like that. And it's good for storytelling, and as a wordsmith, we like to storytell. So
Yes.
so history just fits the bill perfect.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So for those songs, do you is that just from your general knowledge that you've attained, or do you have to do research for that?
I have to do the research. Yeah. So I just basically just do some Google searches, and I cross-reference things. I make sure to cross-reference, because I've done that where I've recorded a song and then realized my facts were wrong.
Oh, okay.
So then you gotta, get back in the booth and fix that. And so I learned after doing that once or twice that I need to really do a little more than just one Google search. So I dig into it a bit more now. But I usually do about 3-4 hours of studying on the topic. But,
Wow.
With a 4-minute song, there's only so much that you can really put in there. So I just do the basics and essentials of each topic that people might want to know. So,
That's awesome. That's really cool. So then, as I guess, how long have you been writing actual rap for? Did you just start writing a year and a half ago, or you been writing before that? Or?
So yeah, I mean, I've been writing music for a while. I mean, I won't say I've been writing it for a while. I wrote my first rap song when I was 10 years old. Not the whole song, but just a verse, you know. Rapped it for my parents and stuff like that. And then, through high school and junior high was always freestyling and, doing that kind of stuff, but never really made music and wrote songs.
Okay.
Never did that. Anytime I got on a verse or something like that, it was always at a friend's house who had a makeshift studio, but it was always on their time and it never lined up. And, when I was motivated, they had something to do. So it was just, I kind of just, I never took the initiative to actually learn how to just do the whole thing independently until just recently. And once that happened, it just kind of lit that spark and just kept going. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So, what do you find? I guess it's probably teaching, but what do you find is the most rewarding part of what you do? Is it just knowing that you're giving that knowledge to kids who can learn that way?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, first and foremost, just, I love making music. I mean, I didn't realize how much I'd love the whole process of it, but just to be able to, and all the musicians in here probably know, just to compose something, make it, and it's just how fulfilling that process is.
Yeah.
And then also, I have to say, it's when, you got the 9 and 10-year-old kids from the neighborhood coming up to you, wanting to tell you how good the song was and thinking you're a celebrity,
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
It's just, it's cool, man. It feels good to know that they're actually listening to it. They like it. I involved some of the kids in some music videos just to, because they, just to have some fun, and, they put some big smiles on their faces. So that meant a lot to me.
They probably love going and watch themselves on YouTube, eh?
They do, yeah. I mean, that video's views is going crazy now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's it's good, man. And I've seen some teachers. I've been kind of on TikTok, which I didn't think I was ever gonna do, but it's just one of these, just another platform. I figured it'd be a platform with the demographic that I'm kind of reaching.
Right.
And I got a bunch of teachers, posting my songs with them in the classroom, bumping it, so
cool.
That's kind of cool to see that it's actually getting inside the classrooms, and some of these kids are having fun with it instead of it's just something to break up the sometimes the monotony of just that normal class day.
Yeah. I think we all know that.
Yeah. So that's fun to
that's
see.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
So one thing that I found really interesting, your logo.
Yeah.
It's a rhino and a bird, is it?
And a bird, yeah. It's the oxpecker bird. So it's essentially you see in the jungle, you'll see a rhinoceros, and then you'll see a bird on his back, which is an oxpecker bird. And the rhino's a very solitary animal, so it's kind of riding solo for the most part, but they coexist with this bird, and the bird just hangs out on its back and eats the bugs off its back and watches its back and warns it about danger.
Okay.
And then the rhino, he's cool with that, and the bird's getting fed at the same time, so they got this, they just coexist. That's it. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And I kind of just, that kind of bleeds into, just kind of what we're doing with fundamental raps here, and just that, just the love for the music, but also just trying to, share something with the kids. And I always tell my wife she's my little ox pecker, because
Yeah.
she's always got my back, and you always need no matter how much sometimes my ego will say, I can do this. I don't need people. You always need those close people and that support,
Yeah.
man, and that's kind of what that symbolizes to me as well. So
Definitely.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Let's make some noise for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So, you mind if I ask you a little bit about just like hip hop in general?
Yeah,
You go there?
absolutely.
So do you have like who's like your who's an artist you're listening to these days?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've definitely just listened to that new Polo G album. It's pretty crazy. I mean, some of these, it's obviously some a little more the mainstream, but I always got some as far as kind of newer artists. I'd have to say Joyner Lucas. Every time I hear some, I'm always inspired by when he delivers, just the way he always comes with something that I like. There's I always I'm from the West Coast, born in the '80s, so of course I always got some Pac going on in my CD player. Yeah, and who else? I've been following some of these. I watch some of these YouTube rappers too, and there's an artist. Tom McDonald. He's not like my favorite like lyrically, but I respect how he just does everything 100% independently.
Right.
And that's something that I kind of strive for too. So, I find that lately when I'm listening to music, I'm just kind of studying and learning how what they're doing, how they're moving through it,
Yeah.
how they use social media. So yeah, I've just been, that's kind of who I listen to though, but I wouldn't say there's anyone who I'm steadily bumping. I mean,
Yeah.
I like to put out music, and if I'm in the car, usually it's my stuff,
Yeah.
because I got an album I dropped in February as well, sometime
Okay.
in September. That's not the educational stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little more, sometimes things come from the heart, so you got to put that on paper
Yeah.
too. So usually I'm bumping that, but definitely, it's probably who comes to mind right now.
What
Yeah.
is that album called that you did?
It's called Sometime in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And,
how many tracks is it?
It's 10 tracks.
10. Dope.
10 tracks, yeah. So that's under the name Fundamental.
Okay.
So that's my name. So I got kind of in a rut where I got 2 Spotifys going on right now. So it's kind of hard to
Okay.
fuel them both. But it is what it is. So
Yeah. So are you going to be working then like with the fundamental raps and that aspect of it as well? Like going forward, you're going to be doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to mix a little more where a lot of the songs, that I make is fundamental. I try to keep it, is storytelling, inspirational, positive. I try to keep it as clean as I can too,
Yeah.
just so those two things can kind of coexist with each other,
Right.
in harmony like that. So that's kind of what I'm zoning for. I mean, sometime in September is explicit content, just because it doesn't take much to label it that. You could say
Totally.
damn, and it's explicit, so it is what it is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. So. Let's see. Oh, here's a good question. If you could be eternally stuck in one year's music scene, what year would it be?
1 year's music scene. Ooh, eternally stuck. Ooh, I'd probably have to say
We can go a couple years.
90. Yeah, I mean 90, 95, 94, 95.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because,
Good era.
I mean, it's just Pac, Biggie, Big L. I mean, there was just Nas. It was just so many artists at that time. Some of my favorite artists of all time, that were just really breaking the mold as far as hip hop was at that time. I mean, you know, hip hop is constantly changing, and there's a lot of big things happening now, you know, but
Totally.
it you know, back then I think it was that monumental time. It was like how Jordan was when he broke, you know, there's been players that are, I think, equivalent to Jordan, but at that time he just was breaking the mold, right, for certain things and setting standards, and I think that's what was happening in the mid 90s. So I probably have to, and that's kind of, I was at that time I was 10, so it was, you know, hip hop was really starting to resonate with me, and it was kind of you know, getting into that, and so it just it holds a spot
Totally.
in my
That's
in my
awesome.
heart for sure.
Do you have like a favorite album that you bump?
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, definitely, you know, Pac, the All Eyes on Me, Until the End of Time. As far as that, you know, Until the End of Time, that was kind of one of those albums that immortalized kind of Pac for me, because he had been dead already for 5 years or so.
Right.
And it dropped, and it was one of those things, like a double disc too, and it was just like, wow, that was, you know, that was something else. But yeah, I mean that, and like I said, I mean right now, like I've listened to a lot of people drop, like J. Cole just dropped an album,
Right. Yeah.
you know. So when artists, you know, usually drop something, I try to listen to
Check it out.
the album front to back and just,
Yeah.
you know, give it a real hip hop listen, and you know, usually kind of move on from there. But that's
dope.
what-
Yeah. So I guess how often do you, going back to you, how often do you release the Fundamental Raps? Just going back to that for a moment.
The Fundamental Raps. Yeah, I was doing a music video a week for the first 30 weeks, and then now I'm doing trying to do 3 a month.
Okay.
So, and I usually release on Friday, but you know, I was doing the video every week, and you know, I got a, you know, full-time job, and you know, I'm first and foremost, I'm a husband and a father, so it's just like this whole it's overtime, you know, so it's my passion, so I love to do it, I love putting in the hours, but I have to have that balance too, because that you know, music song and a music video every week is just, it's a lot,
a lot of work,
so it's and also I noticed that, you know, I was getting into a place where I felt like I was at a plateau with, you know, mixing and making the music and doing the music video, the editing stuff. Like when I was pumping them out that fast, I felt like there was no room to grow. I mean, I was growing naturally by doing all this stuff, but I felt like I needed a little more time to put a little more time into each one of these songs and videos to actually be able to try new things and do this kind of stuff. So I've been taking a step back and just trying to find some balance, and also just kind of perfect my craft a little more in that
awesome.
sense too. Yeah.
Do you have any albums in the works then for the future as well?
Yeah, you know, I don't at the moment, but in my definitely in my mind, and it's in there, and I'd like to be able to release at least an EP before the end of the year on the fundamental part of things. As far as Fundamental Raps, it's just singles, you know, and more of a YouTube, and it's on Spotify and stuff under Fundamental Raps. But I think under the Fundamental, definitely want to try to put out a 6-song or some EP. You know, maybe an album. We'll see. But I think I can feel it brewing. Just been putting a couple beats together and just stockpiling them and kind of filling them out. So it's definitely it's flowing there. Yeah, it's just sometimes you know, I've been making a lot of educational music, so sometimes, you know, you just need to release some other stuff too. So that's kind of it's coming. It's coming.
Get that therapy out as well, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's awesome. Is there any, I guess, where can people find you? Any shout outs you want to give to people while you're here, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, yeah. I mean, big shout outs to my wife, you know, I mean, ultimately, I mean, just supporting me 100%. And definitely, she's probably watching this right now. And, you know, she's my ox pecker. And then I got, you know, my son he's just my, he's my best teacher, you know, teaching me things every day.
Totally.
Yeah, probably, you know, shout out to my dad. I think he's watching right now on YouTube. So, yeah, love you, Pops. And, yeah, that's that's you know. And shout out to you guys definitely for having me, and you know I appreciate it, and all the artists here tonight. Looking forward to the good sound, and yeah, the energy's good. And, yeah, and you can find me on fundamental raps all across the board. I mean, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram is I am fundamental. And yeah, you just pretty much fundamental raps though across the board there.
Dope.
You can find me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Stefan, appreciate you coming out.
Yes, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure,
Yes,
man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's make some noise for Stefan. Fundamental Raps in the house. Thank you for coming out.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Follow me through the valley of the kings to the great pyramids of Giza.